Billiken fans, welcome back. It's Zach Miller and Peter Hale. It's the Midtown Madness Podcast. Before we get going, thank you again so much for listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It's season 5, and once again, the Midtown Madness is brought to you by Two Men and a Garden. Looking for the absolute best salsa on the shelf? Look no further than Two Men and a Garden salsa. Made fresh with simple ingredients, and it's got a ton of flavor. Whether you're dipping, topping, or mixing, Two Men in a Garden salsa is here to elevate your mid-game snacking. I honestly, Pete, could have used Two Men in a Garden salsa when I got back to the hotel Saturday night. It would have paired perfectly with a fragile fan emotions and a late-night Duke Hawaii game. Visit them online at twomeninthegarden.com to shop your favorite flavors and learn more about all their partner products. Don't forget to follow them on social media at Two Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter for the latest updates from Two Men in a Garden. Pete. I realized today that I had a real mind to watch tonight's game against Quinnipiac at home. I just, to where I didn't feel like it was worth it driving down there to watch them play tomorrow. I think this is some sort of residual fight or flight response. Because that loss was just like every demoralizing loss the last 4 years.
Yeah, there were a lot of Zach. I mean, this. I guess just to the headline out front is this was a really hard week to be a Billiken.
It right? Really, it was. I mean, it was this loss was the cherry on top of a brutal week in Billiken sports. And people, if you're here for just basketball, hold on tight and stay. Stick with us through basketball because this week absolutely sucked all the way around. We got to talk about the actual game. We also have to talk about the kind of the Billiken Athletics setup for this tournament. This, it's a neutral site game, so you expect alumni relations, the athletic department, to be out in full force. But that was not the case. So a lot to talk about there. And then, of course, on the women's soccer side, huge game against USC, absolute classic. Unfortunately, not the way we wanted it to go. And then on the men's side of soccer, it was just frustrating. We're going to get into it all here, and we'll start off with men's basketball. Pete, an 88-63 loss versus Wichita State at the Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City at T-Mobile Arena. It was Friday the 22nd. This day started with Josiah Dotzler putting on his Instagram a picture that was, not a good sign for Billiken fans.
When you see someone's knee in a giant brace, the kind of brace that goes all the way up the thigh and all the way down the shin, taking a picture of his knee. I don't remember what his caption was. Something about, I don't know, praying.
God's plans. Yeah.
Right. That kind of stuff. And you're just like, oh boy, this does not look good. And we come to find out, immediately you think, well, he's not playing in the Wichita State game.
My immediate thought was ACL tear. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah. And unfortunately that's what it was. We found out later that it was a torn ACL and MCL after an injury in practice on Wednesday. So he is out for the season, which is really, Zach, disconcerting, disappointing, just a gut punch after seeing some promise from him, honestly, in the previous game as someone who can back up that point guard position, right? He's that lefty point guard with decent size who's pretty smooth, and we were ready for him, right, in that role.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, he was, well, at least honestly, according to Shirts, is that he was supposed to start on Friday.
Yeah. Right. He him being able to start in that position allows, some Kobe Johnson, who's also been battling injuries, but it allows Isaiah Swope to play in position and Gibson Jimerson on down the line. Everybody can play in position if we have that guy at that position, and we just didn't. So It has a ripple effect. It's not just we're missing this guy and his minutes. It has a ripple effect on the positions, the roles that everybody else on the team can play. What an absolute blow to him, to the team, to the fans, to everybody, to have him out for the season. We already knew, so we know he's hurt, right? We get word earlier in the day that Robbie Avila was going to be out for this game after thinking like, will he, won't he, like he might be in for this one. And then we come to find out AJ Casey's out too, and had his left, do I have that right? Yeah, his left foot in a boot. We had a picture of that before that game. So that's minus 1, 2, 3, one of those for the season. Already on a 12 scholarship roster with Dylan Warlick sitting out for the year. So we're looking at 9 scholarship players for this game, Zach, and that's just not a great omen coming into it.
No, it's not. And I mean the omen. It was the horror movie, The Omen. Honestly,
yeah,
especially from the 3-point line, especially from the Billiken's 2 top contributors, Gibson and Isaiah. It wasn't their night, and I got to be honest. I didn't like half of Isaiah's 3-point attempts. He bothered me all night.
Yeah, his shot selection was not great. When he was taking them, where he was taking them, it just wasn't right. It didn't he's one of those players. Think about that scrimmage where he really lit it up, and if he's in rhythm and everything looks natural, you feel like that guy can't miss. And not one attempt that he took in this game felt natural. Yeah. Not one of them looked right. He's a rhythm player. All of them were just a little bit off. He was forcing things, it just didn't look right. And he and Jimerson, Isaiah Swope, Gibson, Jimerson, went a combined 1 for 15 from 3. And coming into this game, no Robbie, no Casey, no Dotzler. We're thinking like those two, they've got to be on. They've got to be on.
You might as well have played without them.
Yeah, I mean, those are the 2 guys you needed to be making shots for this to be a game. And the fact that they weren't meant it just wasn't going to happen.
Man, that first half, it was frustrating, but I thought it was passable. Yeah. I thought, it was one of those where you look up at the scoreboard, you're down 3, you say, obviously the free throw shooting from Kellen Thames was 0 for 6 in that first half. So you look up at the scoreboard and you say, we're down 3. If he makes 4, we're up 1, right? If Gibson makes one of his shots, if Swope makes one of his shots, like all this, like you can see how that game could have gone another way. But the hard times just kept rolling into that second half, and I mean it was awkward in there. First of all, there's no worse feeling than losing a neutral site game when the other team is just like kicking your ass and the fans are standing and clapping the entire time because you can't score a field goal. It is. I wanted to go hide on the concourse. It's that bad. It's brutal.
I feel like these are the kind of games that have been the worst in our program's history. These kind of like neutral court showcase games are the ones that have always kind of really gone belly up for us. And it's across coaches, it's across eras. It's just kind of, I don't have the data to back that up. It just kind of feels that way, right? Like, yeah. I don't know what it is. We just don't show up for these. But yeah, I know that feeling. I hate that feeling. I do. The first half was frustrating. It was hard for me as a fan, and we'll get into this later, to get into this game because the women's soccer game was going. It started late. It was going late, and so I never thought it would creep into this game, but it did. And so trying to then get in the rhythm of this game as it was going on while that one was still going on was already throwing me off. And then the first half, you kind of felt like, okay, it's frustrating, but we're in it. we haven't been able to really capitalize. We haven't been able to like string runs together. But the first half ends down 40-37, and you're thinking like, okay, deep breaths. Let's get in this. Let's get it right.
Get in the locker room.
There's nothing about exactly. There's nothing about Wichita State that feels insurmountable, right? Like there's no position where we feel overwhelmed. They've got a big man who's got a bit of a size advantage, and he was a tricky assignment. Couple guards who were playing well. They strung some possessions together. Like, okay, but again, nothing we can't overcome. Down 3 at halftime, and to watch the wheels come off of this thing is something that I would probably have to go back and like watch, but I can't.
No.
I can't, Zach, because this was one of the hardest halves to ever witness.
This was, I would equate this to the 20-point game as far as like how difficult it was to watch.
Yeah.
It just, with that, it just felt like this game, all things being equal, and the Billikens shooting better. I mean, this is a completely different ball game.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's crazy to look at the box score here and like not be able to say they were just a team that like was full of good rebounders or like
yeah.
There's nothing you can like look at on paper and like point to, and it's like that's the mismatch, that's the thing that went wrong. And like, yeah, we had 14 turnovers and only forced 7, right?
Yeah.
That 14's not a brutal number. 7 is a fantastic number if you only turned it over 7 times. Not forcing turnovers is something we thought we would leave in the Travis Ford era. We did get out rebounded by 7. Again, not great, but not an insurmountable number.
Especially with the personnel we have.
That's exactly right. So you look at this shooting line, 39.7% from the field, 20% from 3-point, and then 52.4% from 3. It's bad. Like that's bad from all 3 spots. It's way below where you want to be. But then again, it's not like Wichita State lit it up, right? They shot 45% from the field. They were 23% from 3.
It's not like they defended us well either.
No. Yeah, it just felt like nothing was in rhythm. Nothing looked right. It was not natural. When we were taking shots, didn't feel like that's the shot we were working for. It's hard to explain. You had to watch this game to understand why it was wrong.
Yeah, because like all I saw was, I mean, of course I was, not, I say this about the women's soccer and the men's soccer games all the time. It's very difficult for me to get an idea of what's going, like on a macro level, what is happening in that game. So to me, this felt like we were just getting open shots. To me, this was missing shots, and we had nobody at the rim that was tough enough to stop a drive. Because, it was open season from 6 feet in. You were not being contested in any way, shape, or form if you were a Wichita State basketball player and you were going to the rim.
It was weird to watch that because you felt like, do we have a bunch of guys with 3 and 4 fouls? Like, what's going on here? And that wasn't really the case.
No.
Like, yeah, we put them on the line more than we got there, but like, again, like just what was that? It was just it wasn't effort, it wasn't energy, it wasn't toughness. It was all just missing. It felt wrong.
Yeah, it felt like it's really hard to separate this game and kind of the bed pooping with like women's basketball having getting the doors blown off by Mizzou. It's really hard to separate those two when there's just bad vibe. Like it's just bad vibes among the entire. It was just. It's hard because it was such a bad vibe with the men's soccer game because they played really well, but there's something about that team that they just don't have that. And then you watch women's basketball play Mizzou and doors blown off, and that's bad vibes. And then you watch the women's soccer game right before this, and then the pregame stuff in KC that was bad vibes. And then this, it all feels interconnected, and it's so frustrating. And it's only something like weirdos like me and you can see, because nobody else is weird enough to pay attention to all of this stuff at once.
The vibes we're carrying across all sports this week. It was off. It was off. I I don't really have an explanation for this one, except it all just stunk. I mean, I was throughout this game, I knew.
I thought you were going to say throw up, because I thought about it.
And throughout this game, and knowing you were there, I'm trying to so I'm reading Twitter, I'm reading Discord, Billikens.com, I'm watching the game, I've got the box score, and then I'm trying to update our notes for the show. And I kept looking over at the notes for the show and being like, I don't really have any. I don't have anything to say. I'm just watching.
0 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah, it was just not there. I can't quantify it. I guess if I want to look for a bright spot, Kalu Anya, 15-9, 6 of 8 shooting, 3 assists, 2 steals. That looks good on paper.
But then again, he didn't defend worth a shit.
Yeah, exactly. Did you come out of that arena thinking Kalu Anya had a good game? No, you were that all sucked. It was terrible. And on the other side, no one from Wichita State went off. We've had games where we've had results like this where you're like, dude, or a couple of guys on whoever we were playing.
Tyler Ralph.
They couldn't miss this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some guy who looks like me from Rhode Island or Duquesne just scored 35, shot out of his mind for 40 minutes, and that happens.
Nobody looks like you that plays basketball. Don't be silly.
Oh, come on now. Yeah, no, I'm 6'5" and really in great shape. But so
and you're in finance.
I got it all. But I just their team. It's so weak. I don't have a strong argument here. Their team looked very in sync. Their energy looked better. They were playing together better. They seemed to be playing harder. They seemed to be having fun. All of those kind of things that you want to see from a team. It just kind of came off as simple as that, at least watching from home. I wasn't in the arena, but I could kind of see the way that they were playing it, and they seemed to step ahead of us and really, I don't want to say had us figured out. They were just kind of playing better, and nobody went off, nothing on paper you can point to that was it was this guy or it was this thing that they did. They just played better.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a strong argument here, Zach.
I just, it was it just felt there was no energy in that second half at all. Yeah. They started out with, I think it felt, how long did they go into the second half without scoring a field goal? 6 minutes, 7 minutes?
Oh, slow. Yeah. It was something like that.
So I would say before they got the free throws, or they got those 2 free throws and they made them. And then they Wichita State fans continued to clap and stand. And you just at that point, it was okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is, it just felt like there was no energy. Everything was taken out of, the Billikens, and they just didn't, it was a little too difficult. It felt like, they were I don't know, we're not making shots. I don't know what to do.
So it seems like as squishy as our arguments are against what happened here and why this happened, it seems like Schertz was kind of on the same page as us, right? Because I want to go over his quotes in the post game. He called the second half the most pathetic half of basketball in his coaching career. He said, "We played with no force offensively, no toughness defensively. The first half, we had every chance to have a lead at halftime. I thought our offense was okay. Second half, we missed some looks. They made some runs. We allowed it to happen. It was bad offensively. It was pathetic defensively. Robbie's not going to come back and fix what ails us tonight. He's not a panacea. He's been out 50 something of the last 70 days. There's stuff tonight that no one player is fixing. That was unacceptable. That's 100% on me. We got to try to play well on Monday, Wednesday. I can deal with a lot of stuff. I'm never going to deal with guys not competing. We'll tighten the screws, go to 2-a-days. We'll stay within the hours. But if they're going to make my life miserable, and he kind of trailed off from there. So it seems
he was
like,
pissed.
Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like what we saw, me on TV, you in the arena, the lack of effort, the lack of energy, the lack of cohesiveness was something that he absolutely agrees was the issue here.
Yeah, I thought, well, first of all, please don't go to 2-a-days shirts. In the arena, I saw fatigue.
Yeah. Their shots were short.
Yes. Dude, I don't know. Dude, it's if they're not having fun, man. Sounds like they had a miserable time last or Friday night too.
Yeah. No, their legs looked tired. I mean, that team looked beaten. And it's crazy too, because that's coming off of almost a full week of just practice and not games, right? Like, we played 3 games in 18 days or something crazy like that. And now it's about to turn into like 3 in like 7 days. So it's, or like 6 days really. So it's don't go to 2-a-days. Don't risk more injuries. Don't risk more fatigue.
Yeah, no, I really don't. I doubt he's going to actually, I mean, that just sounds like, blowing smoke.
Yeah.
Sending a message to your team via the media, but
yeah, I hope so. But Zach, I don't know. I don't really have much more to say about this. It's hard to watch. What I want to hear.
Hold on. I do have something to say. I tweeted about it as much, but like our defense is so bad in the paint, was so bad in this game. We need one of those 2 7-footers to step in here. We absolutely need one of them.
You're talking about Pekar or Brokoff, right?
Yes, 500%. I need to see one of those players start and play or play meaningful minutes. I don't care if they start, but Brokoff or Pekar, step up, protect the lane, because I mean, I could have laid the ball in.
Yeah.
It was like watching last year again. There was nobody protecting the rim.
Yeah. It almost makes me appreciate like a John Chaney Temple team where it's like, I'm going to bring the 8th or 9th guy in. He's going to flagrant foul someone so hard that they're not going to come back in the paint for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take him back out. Like
why not? I don't know.
We just cannot allow that to be so easy.
Yeah. No. I mean, it is baffling to me. I'm going to say the same fucking thing that I said last year, because in the interest of fairness, you are practicing on Rick Majerus court.
Yeah.
You cannot play defense like that.
Yeah. No, that
is an insult to the man whose court you practice on.
Yeah, you put it like when you put that name on the floor, it's a message. It's for a reason.
And I realized that reason was insanely fucking hollow last year, by the way. Yeah. But make it mean something. It's so bad. I would love to see Brokoff at the center role. I know Pekar's more of a wing. By the way, he is fun to watch, man. I enjoy watching Max Pekar play. I really do.
He's going to be a player.
Yeah, I don't know when or if or when or I don't know. Like, I don't know what role he plays. He's so confusing to me because he's a complete like opposite of everything you've ever seen in a basketball. It's like watching like a Cooper Flag. Like, I think you can watch it, and again, I'm not comparing directly, but I'm saying like we don't get that opportunity to watch 6'9" players play guard.
Yeah.
We don't see that.
Right.
So when you see it, it's very disorienting. And yeah, all I know is I need better leadership from Swope. That's my takeaway from this game, because honestly, it was Gibson didn't get a lot of shots either. He was not getting open, and I don't know what was going on there, but I think I'm not pinning it on Isaiah Swope. I'm absolutely not, because there was a lot of interior defensive assignments that were missed, and but I need to see something better from him, man. He cannot go AWOL in games.
Yeah, agreed. I think one of them had
mentally or physically.
One of them had 7 attempts from 3. One of them had 8. Definitely down from previous games. But yeah, I think you've got to see more leadership on both sides. But also, the ball was not finding Gibson on the perimeter at all. It just wasn't. But Zach, I do want to.
You're going to make me do it, aren't you?
I want to know what was your experience for this game this weekend, because there was a lot of hype leading up to this game. Like, I knew a lot of fans were going to be heading out to Kansas City, not just you, but a lot of people. And we've got alums out there. A lot of people made the trip. It was a late game. Like we said a couple weeks ago, you could work a full work day and still make it out there on time if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
So we knew we were going to have some people in the house. And I think, in typical SLU fashion, I think most of the Billiken fans were on the same side as the camera in the game, so you didn't see a lot of them.
Yeah, they were all, yeah.
But I know they were there. And I do want to hear about what was the Kansas City experience for this weekend.
So yeah, I mean, I'll just roll through. We drove up, we left, I think, Friday, 9 a.m. We did some brewery walking tour. You would have loved it. I hated it.
What was the brewery?
I don't know. I did have some dope ass barbacoa tacos at City Barrel.
Okay.
So that was fun. I enjoyed those. I enjoyed the tacos. I think I had one beer there, and then that was kind of it for me for the night. I just had no interest. I went out for the that Saturday game we had, the Loyola Marymount game. I got to pick and choose my spots, and this was one of those. I felt so good waking up at like 8 a.m. 7 a.m. the next day, like feeling even after like a 12:30, bedtime. It was late. I mean, the Power and Light is preposterously overpriced. First of all,
it's not my favorite place. It's Ballpark Village, right? It's very
right. Exactly. I think like here's the thing. The problem is that there was no party or any sort of gathering of like, the thing is you had somebody, first of all, we knew prior that alumni relations was not going to put anything on, right? Whether it's budget cuts, I have no idea. I don't know why they didn't. It's a shame they didn't. I wish they would have. Annalise and her team put on some killer events every time. They never miss. And we knew it was speculated the AD wasn't planning anything. Like that was kind of the word we got. Somebody posted on Billikens.com asking where people were going to meet up. I think I tweeted out, where's everyone meeting up? That like Wichita State has McFadden's, Iowa has the Sporting Kansas City bar. And then we got an email, Pete. Billiken Club sent out an email saying that a pregame fan meetup was starting at 7 p.m. at McFadden's, where Wichita State had rented out half the bar. And so I got there about 6:30. Nothing was going on. Iowa section was blocked off. Handful of SLU fans. Nothing was happening at all. There was no sign for SLU, anything like that. Which, I mean, we had talked about it before. I left. You were like, or when we had got it. I think we got the email like Thursday, didn't we? It was like 24 hours ahead of time.
Right.
And so you and I talked about like, there's really nothing going to be there. Like, there's no way they set this up at the, like they didn't, I don't know. But, Yeah, nothing was happening again. So I went over to the pizza bar, had some dinner. That pizza bars, I actually do like that place quite a bit. It's kind of nice. And then went back over to McFadden's at 7. Nothing going on. Nobody from the athletic department there. The assistant athletic director for development, Matt Hayden, showed up around 7:30. He was the only person representing St. Louis University there. I guess they said Chris May and Janet were in SoCal, which I mean, I don't know. There was no Billiken party.
Yeah,
there was no there was no pregame event.
right.
Like I don't know why. It is fine if you do not. I don't want to say it's fine if you don't throw a pregame event, but like if you say there's a pregame event, there better be an actual pregame event. You can't just say all you did was literally say, hey, everybody, go to McFadden's and hang out.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would tell people there was a pregame meetup. That's not a meetup.
It was like them saying, wow, what was the place we went to last time that we had the thing at? Oh yeah, McFadden's. Just tell them, go to McFadden's. But like they didn't call McFadden's. They didn't order anything. They didn't have they didn't have food. They didn't have bar tabs. They didn't have a sign. They didn't have a person. It was just like, go to that place without even thinking like, oh yeah, maybe another school in this event thought of that first, or maybe there's another thing going on. Nothing, right? It was just like, just go to this place. Hopefully it works. If I tell you all to go there, that's an event. You'll be there, right?
Yeah, I just don't. I don't understand the thought process. Like, what if you don't have anything? Don't have anything. Don't just like. We'll be annoyed. Obviously, fans will not be happy about it. But at the same time, if you don't do something, you can't do something wrong. I guess you can't further exacerbate the situation by pretending you had an event set up and you don't. Right. I mean, everybody knows when they get there, we're going to find out that like there's nothing. It's just, again, I according to Billiken Mike in the Discord, again, this is secondhand and him speculating, but like he chatted with Matt Hayden. He said you could tell he was embarrassed. I mean, I don't know what the point is really not to, I mean, I obviously don't want to throw like you again, because I don't even know what the Billiken Club does, honestly. And if that's like they take up the 1818 bar, they put out some T-Ravs during home games, and I don't know. It's so I don't know. The point is you have a bunch. My big point, I guess, is my problem. My gripe is that the overall lack of any fanfare around this game. It didn't feel like it was important. And obviously we watched a team that played like it wasn't important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I see how things like this can, obviously it's correlation does not mean equal causation. But there's a culture that if this is how, the athletics is going to do things that, take the shortcuts, the easy roads. What does that say for every other department? But like you have a bunch of fans who are forgiving enough over the last 2 years to come all the way to Kansas City, support the team at a neutral site. It's one of the closest within driving distance. And you have to show your appreciation. You have to show your gratitude to these fans that show up. I don't care about me. I'm not going to eat the chicken strips. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't even care if there's food, for Christ's sake. Like, have some giveaways. Bring out the boxes collecting dust in the back of the storage closet. Give that shit away. Like, put it on a table. Bring out dude, I don't know. You can get creative, do a tailgate if you can't afford a bar. I don't know. It's just, you can't just fire Ford, hire a new basketball coach, set it and forget it.
Right.
You have to continue. This is an ongoing healing and rebuilding of trust. And you should absolutely be rewarding fans with some sort of pregame event, whether it be just even throwing a tailgate. You don't have to do anything. Just just like have some music playing, throw some bags games out there, maybe put up a beer pong table, announce there's a tailgate. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to spend money on this stuff. I worked for an indoor soccer team and my budget was $0. You really don't have to spend money to market your team and thank your fans and show your appreciation. People spent their money to come watch you play, and we're just supposed to. That is this attitude that I continue to try to tell people exists, where they just expect for fans to be fans and to be loyal and show up and, hey, we did the right thing. We fired Ford, hired a new coach. Everybody, you can come back now. We're cool. Yeah. And that's just not the fucking case. You got to be better. You have to do things right. You don't want people calling you a clown on the internet. You have to stop doing clown shit and allowing your athletic department to do clown shit.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with all of that, Zach. These are the kind of neutral site regional, games, drivable for your fans in a market that has a lot of your alums that you have to show up for. And so I'm wondering why does something like this happen? Like, what are the explanations here?
I mean, I guess, you could look at, obviously the number one is we've talked about budget cuts, right? That's the big talking point. Obviously everybody is seeing, market downturn, all that kind of stuff. It's affecting everyone. Boeing, SLU had layoffs. People are getting laid off. So budget cuts, obviously, number one. I would say that's, if you had to ask me, that's why first of all, when SLU alumni does an event, they do it first class, every which way, first class. But so I would assume they didn't do it because of budget cuts. That's got to be 1A. It could be that the athletic department, somebody was supposed to set it up and never did. That's certainly possible, right? We talk about the eligibility issues last year. It's happened before. So, there could have been miscommunication between athletics and alumni, right? Alumni didn't inform athletics that they weren't going to do something. That's totally fair. Mm-hmm. And then I guess, you could always chalk it up to, they didn't think it was important. They didn't want to put on an event. You could also put it on athletic budget cuts too. But again, you can put something on for a couple $100, a few $100, like hotels. Putting people up in hotels, like whatever, that's gonna cost you. But again, you have deals with these hotels. So it could be. Yeah, I think one of the fellow sluts just said laziness. I wasn't ready to call it that, but I really don't know. Like it baffles the mind. It seems like when you can't afford something, when the athletics can't afford something or, budget, like nobody says, how can we solve the problem? Mm-hmm. How can we be creative? And how it's incredible how little creativity, it's easy. I don't know. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know what? It's not easy, Pete. But it's just
not easy, but it's not that hard either.
No, you've got to come up with something. You've got to come up with some sort of event for your fans. You can do. It's not hard to find an event that's going to be budget friendly.
Yeah. If Wichita State can do it, SLU can do it.
Yes.
The bottom line. And
I think, to add in, obviously, Wichita State brought their band, cheerleaders, and mascot. SLU did not bring any of them. The SLU band, by the way, was represented by this incredible high school band. I tweeted a video. They played some big timers. They played They Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, the old Drake diss track, which I thought was fun.
That's great.
But yeah, they were amazing. They were so into the game. I think, and to be fair, I will be fair. Utah State and Iowa did not bring their band or their cheerleaders or mascot. I do not believe. I don't think so. But like again, we are down the road. We are the second. Like we are in the same state as this tournament. I just don't. I don't know, man. Can we circle back on the injury shit?
Yeah. Let's do that. We've had a rash of injuries here, and I know you might be a little more.
I don't I just
conspiratorially minded. The right word here. I
don't know if it's conspiracy, man. I think it's just like it's so weird. I don't understand it. How you have. I mean, I within the last 5 years, we've had at least one season-ending injury per season. Feels like at some point. Now, not like on average. I mean, would you have Fred Thatch and Perkins in the same year?
Yeah, and I wonder how much of this is like we follow this one team, right? Like I don't follow every team, and I don't have good data on like how many season-ending injuries are there for every program or anything like that. I tend to be.
I did try to look that up, and there is a way to look it up. It's just I don't have a subscription to RotoWire, so
yeah. So I don't tend to be as what's going on here. I think both of us might be a little clouded by like. We
do follow every sport too.
We do, and one of the weird situations that happened in SLU basketball history was the women's team about 20-ish years ago.
Oh, stop it! Please don't say that was 20 years ago.
I mean, I was on campus.
God damn!
They had
the stress fractures,
ankle injuries that were happening all season long, and it turned out to be shoes. They had bad shoes.
Yeah.
And so you think like when you have a streak of horrible injury luck, you're like, there's got to be a higher level explanation of what this is. And unfortunately for us, there really isn't.
No.
Like there isn't the it's those shoes, or like it's this court. Like there's not a thing you can easily explain. But I don't know.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, but I mean, are there things that you kind of point to, like maybe these could be shortcomings or things we need to take a harder look at?
I mean, I don't have anything really like. There's obviously, like you said, there's nothing you can really. There's no quantifiable data on this. It's just that like you have season-ending injuries across all sports, right? Soccer had horrible injuries this year. Yeah. I think it was. I mean, you have. I'm trying to think. I mean, I know you had Axel Torres, and I don't remember if he he was the one that had an injury with the club, or maybe that was last year. And you have, who was the other guy? The Thiago Lopez. Yeah. Thiago Lopez was injured. You look at Cammie Welker had a season-ending injury. It's all across. It's and again, I don't know if that's clouding, that I see it in every, one of every sport. It's like, can we at least take an audit of this shit? Because like, can we at least take a look at what the practices are? Because I don't understand how we have an ACL every year in basketball, and I don't think every team gets an ACL every year in basketball.
No, not every year. Like there are season-ending injuries, pretty regularly. It's not a super rare thing, but it's really frustrating. I tend to think of it's more of a unfortunate coincidence,
Cursed.
I wish I had an easy explanation, like a curse to point to. Unfortunately, I do not. They know, you want to
find a way to solve a problem.
They're aware of this.
Yes, you want to. I think that's what is the, what is it? The desire to do good comes with me. getting conspiratorial because I want to figure out a way that can be fixed.
Right. Exactly.
I want there to be something fixable.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a weird week. First of all, I thought Quinnipiac and UMass Lowell were supposed to play on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it got moved.
To one of their homes.
Yeah, and they already played it.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll go over that.
Did we learn why or what? Or
no, I never saw an announcement of any kind. I thought these were going to be 3 nights in a row. I can totally understand from their standpoint why they didn't want to play. Both of them would have had to play 2 nights in a row, right? Like one of them Monday, Tuesday, one of them Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a lot. I get that. But on Monday the 25th, we play Quinnipiac. The Bobcats are 3-3 right now with wins over Navy, Maine, and a lower division team, and losses to Yale, St. John's, and key for us, UMass Lowell. The game, that we just talked about that we thought was going to be Tuesday, but they played it at Lowell rather than squeeze it in between those as originally planned. I think that just happened on Saturday. So Tom Pecora, a name we know, their head coach, his second season there. You might remember him from his years coaching Hofstra and Fordham and serving on Jay Wright's staff at Villanova.
Wasn't Tom Pecora the guy that a lot of older Fordham fans just rued the day they let him go?
I think so. Yeah, I think more so than Jeff Neubauer, who famously
Fred Flintstone?
Shirt and shoes on. Yes. So Amari Monroe is a 6'7" junior forward averaging 15-5. His shooting efficiency hasn't been good so far this season, but he's still the primary go-to guy, and he's just waiting for that breakout game. He was the MAC, and I'm saying that with 2 A's, preseason player of the year. So really got to keep an eye on him. Paul Otieno is a 6'8" senior forward averaging 10 points and 8.5 rebounds. Not the tallest big man we'll see this season, but he does have really good length. The next 4 guys are all in the 6'4" to 6'7" range and average between 6.5 and 9 points. The point guard is a 6'1" guard, Savion Lewis, averaging about 5, but also 6 assists. He's a 6th-year player with all 6 of those at Quinnipiac, the Gibson Jimberson of their team. Overall, Zach, they've not been a good shooting team this year. They're just 38% from the field.
Oh, thank Christ.
And they only score 68 points per game. They're a poor 3-point shooting team, just 24%. However, before you jump on me for jinxing it or anything like that, I really think this team is just underperforming right now, right? This is a better team in terms of the talent that they have.
What are you working for the network?
Than they've been on paper. Yes, I'm totally doing color commentary for CBS Sports.
This coach is a really great guy. Tom Pecora, really great guy. He'll get this team rolling.
They always love the coach. They were picked to win the MAC this season, and only being 3-3 right now, I think has to be a little disappointing for them. SLU's defense, Zach, really has to be a lot tougher than it was against Wichita State, or this is a potential embarrassment game, right? I know they're in a conference that the A10 would look down at, and that the top teams in the MAC would generally be bottom half teams in the A10, but any team that is picked to win its league is going to be a little bit of a challenge, and they've got that marquee player. They've got a coach with good experience. They've got pieces here to be better than they have been on paper this year. They just haven't shot very well so far. And at some point, that's going to kind of come, build its way up to the norm, to the mean, and they're going to be better. And I just don't want that to start happening against SLU. This is, I don't want to call it quite a trap game, but it's you can't come out and crap the bed like you did in Kansas City. You just sucked in your home opener or your opening game. You sucked in Kansas City. You cannot suck this game. You have to win this game. This is a must win. Actually, you know what? I don't even think we're in none of these games matter anymore. I'm just gonna say that, and that's why I don't want to see Robbie till the A10. For at-large tournament purposes, I agree with you, but I think for the tenor of the season, I think they
absolutely. I would love to watch them win.
Yeah,
but I mean, if they don't win, I'm like, okay.
yeah.
Maybe totally. I don't go Wednesday. I don't know. Let's get to speaking of Wednesday. How about the scouting report on the best university in Massachusetts? The
The
flagship.
best. Yes. UMass Lowell Riverhawks. They're 4-2 right now. We play them on Wednesday, the 27th, as Zach said. They've got losses to Washington and Gonzaga, perfectly respectable. They've got wins over Quinnipiac, St. Peter's, and two lower division schools. So no surprises so far in terms of what they've done. Just what I would call a quality win over Quinnipiac. The head coach is Pat Duquette, who has been there since 2013 when they made the transition up to Division One. It's so weird to look at their history because they've basically finished sixth in the America East almost every year since he's been there, except the past two seasons when they finished second, both of those times. 8 of their 9 players this year are seniors or grad students. So everybody, like their top 9 scorers, all but one guy, has 4 to 6 years of experience. The top scorer is a 6'6" forward named Quincy Minton. He's averaging 18.3 points a game. He had 31 against Quinnipiac. He's a guy who's mostly going to be trying to get to the rim, but he did go 4 of 8 from outside in that game. He's just normally not a high volume shooter from outside. Yuri Covington, a name we know, 6'1" guard averaging 12.3 per game. He's more of a shooter than a distributor, though, so not like our Yuri in that sense. Max Brook is a 6'7" forward. He averages about 12 and 9, 62.3% from the field. Think like a Agbeko type guy who's just, he's not a high volume guy. He's just efficient and kind of does what he does around the rim. Martin Somerville's a name you might know if you follow SLU recruiting. He's a 6'3" freshman guard, the only non-senior in that whole rotation. And he's scoring over 11 points a game. He's a 44.4% three-point shooter. So you got to watch him outside. He had an offer from Travis Ford at one point. So that's why I bring him up. The previous administration. They take about 19 three-pointers a game, which is not a huge number, but they're a really good team inside the arc. 57% from two-point range. They get to the free throw line a ton. They shoot an excellent 77.4% from the stripe. They're averaging 86.7 points per game. They do turn it over a lot, so that's something I think you can exploit. They're kind of a bend, don't break defensive team. They don't foul much at all. They lock down the perimeter. You just have to be good in transition against them because if they get back in the half court, they're just a really stout team that way. So they're a team I think is going to compete for a title in the America East. So this is two teams, small teams, Northeastern, not the kind of teams that we typically pay attention to, but the kind of teams you could see in March. These are very much the kind of teams that could come out of those leagues.
They're also probably much like Atlantic 10 teams.
Yeah,
same kind of styles.
Yeah. So we just got to be ready for both of these games. Cannot come out like we did in Kansas City.
You know what? I just wanted to chase the basketball talk with a little actual kind of fun stuff. We checked into a hotel in KC and we found out pretty immediately that the NWSL was in town for the championship match, and the Orlando Pride were staying in our hotel.
Did you see Marta?
I did not get to see Marta. She was probably getting like treatment, she was probably in a hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
How she stays so young. No, I did get to meet. Her name was Simone Charlie.
Okay.
I got a picture with her. She's apparently injured. I saw her in the elevator, and I have a friend who I actually met in Florida, in Orlando. I met her during that NCAA tournament game. She just happened to show up by herself to the pregame party. See, pregame party, it brings fans together, people.
Yeah.
And she's a huge Orlando Pride fan. So I was in the elevator with Simone Charlie, and I go, "I'm really sorry. Please don't hate me. Can I get a selfie real quick? I never do this, but my friend's a huge fan. She's a season ticket holder." So that was pretty cool. And that was just, they said our room was ready. We got keys to the room. We walk in and the beds are a mess. There's water bottles that are half empty. And on the dresser is an empty envelope with the Orlando Pride sticker with one of the players' names written on it. So it was her. Yeah, it was her per diem. It was her per diem envelope. It was empty. Unfortunately, I could have used a C note. I could have used an extra C note.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it was funny that they had some issues at that hotel, but yeah, it was a good time. But I wanted to chase the that awful shot of SLU basketball with a little fun. And of course, the Pride won the championship. So I like to think it was my words of encouragement, my good luck wishes. Oh, should we go around the A10, Pete?
Yeah, let's do it.
We can't even make fun of them this week. That sucks.
No, we have no high ground to stand on.
No,
not at all.
Monday the 18th, the Hippos of George Washington beat the NJIT Highlanders.
Highlanders, good.
Yeah, 84-64. Fordham, 101-61 against Georgian Court. Apparently Georgian Court had some transpo issues getting to Rose Hill Gym. So that one started a little late. Milwaukee beat Duquesne 80-74. Loyola dropped Southern Utah 76-72. On Wednesday, it was Bonaventure over Mansfield 76-54. Richmond beat Maine 70-66. Rhode Island beat Lafayette 86-72. Rhode Island is getting better. Lafayette's bad, but like Lafayette's not great, but
Rhode Island is putting up big offensive numbers.
After a 1-point game at halftime, Dayton ran away with a 21-point victory over New Mexico State. People will remember New Mexico State for Sim Bular.
Yep, we played them in the first round.
And Dwayne Evans just dropping mid-ranges that would make Josh Schertz shit himself.
Yeah. Yes.
George Mason, 93. Coppin State, 55. Pete, why don't you run us through the weekend?
Thursday, the 21st, Seton Hall beat VCU 69-66 in overtime in the Charleston Classic. UC San Diego beat LaSalle 72-67 in the Boardwalk Battle in Daytona Beach to hand the Explorers their first loss of the season. St. Joe's 78, Texas Tech 77 in the UKG Legends Classic at Barclays Center. St. Joe's was rolling in the first half, up 10 at halftime. Billy Lang did his best to try to blow this one, but he just couldn't do it. His guys were playing. Friday the 22nd, Davidson 93, VMI 66, UIC 96, LaSalle 83 in the Boardwalk Battle. The wheels came off their season very quickly. Drexel 73, Fordham 71. That one kind of stings. Nevada 64, VCU 61. That's 2 in a row. Winnable games against quality opponents that VCU dropped in the Charleston Classic. K-State 83, George Washington 71 in the Paradise Jam. And then Texas 67, St. Joe's 58 in the Legends Classic. On Saturday the 23rd, LaSalle got back in the winning column, 92-77 over Stetson in the 7th place game of the Boardwalk Battle. George Mason 100, something called Ferrum, Ferrun.
Watch your fucking mouth.
55 points. I don't know what that school, like, that's not even like ringing the faintest bell of a college that exists. Sorry, no disrespect, but that's a really weird one. Temple 87, UMass 80 in the Basketball Hall of Fame tip-off. George Washington 83, Louisiana 74 in the Paradise Jam, and then Loyola 89, Tulsa 53. Good Lord. Sunday the 24th, Rhode Island 91, another big offensive numbers act, but this one is even more surprising. Charleston 53.
What is happening?
Charleston was okay this year with Chris Mack back. I don't know what's going on there, and all of his Europeans. VCU 77, Miami 70 in the Charleston Classic 7th place game. Can't believe VCU had to play in 7th for that game. For that tournament, I mean, South Dakota State 71, Duquesne 60, Cayman Islands Classic. The Dukes remain winless at 0-5. St. Bonaventure 85, Bryant 70. And then the last game of the week for the A10, Florida State 92.
Beat the brakes off them.
59. In the Basketball Hall of Fame tip-off, UMass is 1-5. They just kind of stink this year. Zach, we have some kind of fun news.
Old friend alert,
coach.
as West Pine Bills would say. I don't know if he would consider us a friend anymore.
Probably not.
No. Travis Ford's doing color commentary on Kentucky games. First one was Tuesday. I don't know. He did okay.
My UK friends were all alerting me. They were like, "Hey, we got Travis Ford back. We got Travis Ford back." You know, knowing that he was our coach for the past 8 years, and they liked him. And I know they're total homers. They're big BBN, Big Blue Nation through and through. But one of them said, no homer at all here. I actually think he's kind of good. I don't know if that was kind of the rose-colored glasses, like the recruiting bio where they're looking at his upside and thinking like he could be good at this, as opposed to is he good at this right now? But it's something a lot of SLU fans think. Number one, it's a job we could kind of see him taking at this point. But number two, something that he actually might be kind of good at. He's a good talker, has a good perspective. I don't know. I could see him doing all right in that role.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we all said it. Like, I think he would be better in studio personally. Like, if I was going to put him somewhere, I would say in studio. But I mean, yeah, he obviously knows basketball. He's a hoops junkie. I think it's worth. Yeah, I think he's going to be good at it, regardless whether it's in. Sure. I just think he'd be better in studio. I think he's fine on color, but that's just me. We're going to have to talk about this, aren't we?
We've got to.
Okay.
The only way to do it is through it.
Yeah. Women's basketball had a tough week, Peter. 112-59 loss at Mizzou Wednesday the 20th, and I did not see this coming at all.
Me neither, Zach. And I didn't necessarily think, oh, they've got this one. Like, they'll win this one. Like, I take nothing for granted with this program.
Yeah.
They beat Mizzou last year. Mizzou is not supposed to be very good in the context of the SEC this year. Like, easily a bottom half team. Some people think they're a bottom 2 or 3 team based on preseason polls. But when you see a score like 112-59, there's a lot more going on than it wasn't our day. What went wrong here, Zach? I think the only word is everything. Like, every little thing went wrong here. Tiara Simon was not available after taking a shot to the head at Southern Indiana. Have you heard an injury update there? Is it concussion protocol, or
I mean, it's gotta be
broken orbital or something crazy like that?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
So
the injuries, Pete.
I'm just kidding. I mean, that's
different. I'm talking about non-contact when I get into it, but
Peyton Kennedy, Zach, picked up 3 fouls in the first quarter, and Mizzou got out to a 23-11 lead. Again, coach trusted her player in the first half. She got into foul trouble, and things got really out of hand from there. Mizzou could not be stopped in the second quarter, scoring 30, anything over 30 in a quarter. Basketball is bad news for the other team. They didn't really slow down in the second half either, of course, because they got to 112, 57 more points in the second half. And I want to remind people, Zach, that 3-point shooters we warned you about, especially one, Shriek, she went 5 for 8 from behind the arc. She's 500 from 3 on the season, shooting a high volume. She was a real problem. The other shooter we warned you about, not as big a number. I think she only went 1 for 3 from outside, but they didn't even play that many minutes in this game, so it didn't really matter.
Do you know there's a Avery Kroenke on Mizzou? Did you see that?
I mean, she's obviously family member.
She's got red hair. I mean, what do you want?
She's got a toupee and mustache.
This is weird, man. Forget
It
San
runs in the
Jose
family.
State. Forget San Jose State controversy. Let's talk about Avery. No. Yeah, this game. I mean, shit. You want to go through the Billiken stats that are eye popping here?
Sure. I mean, like
Let me just 0 for 7 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
From 3, 0 of 4 in the third quarter, 3 of 10. I mean, 3 of 10 is not bad, but like Shun Anumale, 0 of 7 from 3. Brooklyn Gray, 0 of 3. Peyton Kennedy only goes 1 of 5. I mean, again, these are your like every go-to offensive player in Billiken basketball, whether it be man or woman, was terrible this week.
They sure were. And then in this game, SLU turned it over 24 times. They got out rebounded by 13. They gave up 16 offensive boards. Mizzou ended up with 77 field goal attempts and 24 free throw attempts. Of course, you're going to get to 100 that way. No. SLU shot under 30% from the field, 25% from 3. Brooklyn Gray, as you said, she won up 1 of 8 overall. Shun Anumale was not only 0 of 7 from 3, she turned it over 7 times. She was 3 of 15 from the field. She needed a bounce back game, didn't get it. Luckily, though, Zach, 112 is not the record for points allowed by SLU. That would be 116 against Mizzou back in 1978. Yeah. And I got to think that was one of the first years our program was even in existence.
Yeah.
So that's just rough. If we're looking for bright spots, I could find 2. Mia Bergstrom went 3 for 6 from 3 in 15 minutes, and Peyton Kennedy was again perfect from the line, 7 for 7, which kept her perfect for the season, Zach. But that's really it coming out of that game. And we played another state school from Missouri on Saturday the 23rd, and things didn't go much better.
No, they didn't. It was, I mean, they went better, but not much. 91-68 loss against Missouri State Saturday the 23rd. Another disaster of a game that includes the disaster of Peyton Kennedy leaving the game and not returning to the bench. If it was a non-contact injury, we need to have a conversation.
I mean, it's just, if she's out, man, this season's just over. That's it. You know, like she's the star player. She's the one we needed.
Can we just forfeit the USC game? Because I don't want to see what that final score is going to look like.
Oh, yeah. And we'll get to that. But that's going to be a real problem. This was actually a 1-point game after the first quarter, but Missouri State went on a second quarter run, and SLU never really got, a chance to close it out after that. The Bears had 2 scores. I think they go by Lady Bears, but like that's, I don't know.
If they want to go by it, let them go by it. Stop making this.
As soon as
what women want to do with themselves is their own business.
As soon as I said Bears, I was like, don't they? I think they still might do Lady Bears. But anyway, they had 2 players score over 20 points: Kyra Daniels and Lucy Stokes. Brooklyn Gray had a career high 25 points for SLU, but nobody else really got it done in this game. Shun, she struggled from outside again. She still had 13, which shows you she's always going to be something, but. The thing here, Zach, SLU actually outshot Missouri State, right? Like better percentages from the field. But when you're +6 in turnovers and -16 in rebounds, the volume is a lot more important than efficiency here, right? SLU had 2 second chance points. Missouri State had 19. The Bears had 28 points off turnovers. That's the difference in the game. This was a tough week for the Billikens women basketball team. And one they would like to put behind them.
Yeah, it's not going to get much easier. Well, it's going to get pretty easy, and then it's going to get really hard. So
easy, yes, on paper, but it's at their place, right? It's Tuesday the 26th at Cal Baptist in Riverside, California. I think that's their place because we go to a neutral site after that. But they're 0-5 for the season. It's actually against a pretty tough schedule. So, yes, this is a road game, but, man, it's got to be a win. 0-5 against Cal Baptist, or a team at Cal Baptist. You got to win that game. But, Zach, things get really tough on Friday the 29th in Palm Springs, California.
Yeah, they're going to take on USC, which honestly, after the women's soccer game, I think we should cancel this game. No, I'm not forfeit, just cancel it due to safety issues because obviously, you watch that one. We'll
Unless
talk about it.
you want us to be the aggressors in this game.
Yeah, I would like us to be. I want us to throw some bows. All right.
Yeah,
throw some bows.
We can be the team taking players out.
Yeah. It's about it's like plunking a player after he hits your guy.
That's right.
Right. It's like dropping the gloves with the guy who hit your star player. This is what we got. We need you, ladies. We need the Billiken women to step up here, I think.
Be tough.
Yep. 4-1 with a loss against number 6 Notre Dame, who were ranked, and they were ranked number 3 heading into that game. They're going to drop a few spots, and the Irish will move up. This is still one of the best teams in the country, Pete. Juju Watkins, one of the biggest stars in the college basketball game. They could be a 1 seed easily at the end of the season. And she's a sophomore and she's scoring 22 points a game.
I mean, buckle up, Zach. This is you asked what kind of what's the score going to look like in this game? I let's just say I hope that record stays intact. That Mizzou record that we talked about a couple minutes ago.
Yes.
This is a really, really tough assignment. The one silver lining is we're not actually playing at their place.
Right.
In Los Angeles. We are playing a couple hours away in Palm Springs. Maybe I would like to come up with like that takes them out of their comfort zone or whatever, but this is just a brutal matchup. One. Yeah.
It's a tough one.
Good luck. Juju Watkins is an absolute star. Probably second only to Paige Beckers. I always want to say it's got that U in it.
It's annoying. It's an annoying name. We can all agree.
But she's probably second only to her in terms of the stars in the women's college game this season. She's a big time player, and this is just going to be tough. I want to see the game just to watch her play, just to see what she can do. And to see how we respond to that. But good luck to them out in California this week. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I don't have a transition, Pete. Just talk about 2 Men in the Garden, man.
Zach, I don't know if you noticed, but my background's a little bit different this week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in my parents' basement in Richmond Heights, and I'm walking distance from that. I love it. The Schnucks on Clayton in Richmond Heights. Love Schnucks. It's so much better than those stupid Kroger stores in my
that's true.
fair city.
That's true.
I think Schnucks is just a higher quality store, and one of the reasons why is because they have 2 Men in a Garden salsa products on their shelves. And I have to pick up some ingredients this week for some stuff that I'm making for my family's Thanksgiving dinner. And while I'm there, I'm going to load up on 2 Men in a Garden salsa. I'm going to bring some to Thanksgiving. Going to get some extra tortilla chips while I'm there. And I'm going to bring some home to Cincinnati with me. So I'm very, very excited to do a little grocery shopping this week on the road for me, but back in my hometown of St. Louis. And I can't wait, Zach. I really am looking forward to kind of putting this out there on the table at Thanksgiving in front of a lot of people who may have not had this stuff before, and to kind of see quietly do a little market research here and see kind of how people respond. And I will definitely report back next week to let people know how it goes. But my gut feeling, Zach, is it's going to go well because I really like this stuff. I'm kind of a food snob sometimes, and there's a reason I buy their stuff, and it's not just because they sponsor it. It's really good. 2meninthegarden.com. If you can't get over to your, not your, but to any Schnucks or Deerbergs or Straub's or any other St. Louis area grocery store location, but get to 2meninthegarden.com. Get $9.99 nationwide shipping. Inflation's hit everyone, but it hasn't hit their shipping price. So go there now, load up, and you won't be disappointed.
You know what? I'm so proud of our women's soccer team. This is going to be. Sorry, Pete. This is going to be the most fun we have all episode, I think.
It is, Zach, because I said at the top of the show, this was a really hard week to be a Billiken. This was a tough week. We really, we have no real wins to talk about. It's
No.
all losses. It's hard. And they were losses of a different kind, but this is one where this team, this program, Zach, I know you agree with me, is the gold standard in the SLU athletic department right now.
By far.
Until further notice. And it has been for a while, but the absolute toughness that this team showed in this game against one seed USC, one of the top 4 teams in the country, was unbelievable. Like, they went toe to toe with them. And we'll get into this. The way this game started, it didn't necessarily feel like it was going to be that way. And SLU, blow for blow, stood up with this team, did not back down. And
this was Tyson versus like Buster Douglas when it was, not a fake fight against Jake Paul.
2 heavyweights, absolutely throwing haymakers, landing them, getting back up. I mean, it
physically and on the scoreboard.
Literally. I mean, like, this was, and Katie Shields said it too, this was one of the best games I have ever seen.
Yeah.
This was fantastic.
Here's the problem, Pete. Mother of God. God, sorry, everybody.
You dropped it. But yeah. I do want to set the score here. The St. Louis University women's soccer program that we love so much.
We lost
4-3 in overtime to 1 seed USC in
total
California, in Irvine, California, in the NCAA tournament second round on Friday the 22nd. And this is an example, Zach, of so you've got a 1 seed and an 8 seed, right? We see it in the tournament all the time. When a team is seeded below where they should be, it punishes everyone.
Yes.
It punishes the 1 seed because they get a harder matchup in the second round than they should. And it punishes the 8 seed because they get a harder matchup in the second round than they should. You got to seed teams well. You cannot tell me. So an 8 seed translates into high 20s, low 30s. A 30-ish team is what the committee thought SLU was this year. This is not a 30-ish team. SLU is a top 10 team, period.
Yeah.
And they played like it in this game.
They finally played like it. To be honest, to be fair, they were not showing what they could do. But I gotta say, it was really tough to follow this one because none of the bars had ESPN Plus.
Yep.
So it was on my phone. I kind of was watching it in between talking to people and then going into the game and watching it inside in the arena. And I know people were following it on their phones as well. So other people were watching. Yeah. But honestly, like, I could not, as soon as USC scored, I kind of turned it off because, again, it was so hard to follow. I was just like, okay, that didn't go well. I'll just kind of take updates for a while. Then we tied it up and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And then they scored again. And I'm like, well, okay. And then I turned it off, and then when they tied up, like, this process kept going, and it was incredible, and I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it.
We got to set the stage here because this was supposed to be played in an MLS stadium, and you and I talked about it last week, and the LA Galaxy's stadium was not available because of potential MLS games being played there. So they had to play down in Irvine, like 45 minutes away from USC's campus, because that home pitch was unavailable. And then on top of that, the game started like a half hour late because the Wisconsin-Virginia game went into extra time and then PKs, where Wisconsin won. It was scoreless going into PKs. So this was kind of all thrown off a little bit, right? Not where we thought we were going to be playing, later than we thought we were going to be playing. So all of that was thrown off. And then USC came out strong, Zach. Like, you hope, like, okay, maybe the setting, the atmosphere and everything is thrown off a little bit. But man, oh man, for the first, 10, 15 minutes of this game, I thought, oh, we're in trouble. Like, this is a 1 seed and they look like a 1 seed. and it looked like they just had the kind of talent. You know, we talked about being a little bit worried about size coming into this game. I didn't think that was quite the thing, but they were really physical. It didn't have like the height size of like a BYU, but really a tough physicality. And that showed throughout this game, which we'll get into. But in the 12th minute, Miley Hayes got them on the board with an assist from Kayla Colbert, who was all over the place. This was 2 minutes after Simone Jackson's shot hit off the post. So they threatened a lot earlier and then broke through for that 1-0 lead in the 12th minute second. I was not feeling good at this point. I just kind of wanted to limit the damage.
Yeah, this one, it was like you were with this team. It feels like when I don't know what it is about the Billikens, but I just do not trust their ability to come back in games, regardless of what team it is. I mean, certainly I was wrong here, but it definitely was one of those where you see an early goal. It always feels like when we're playing a big time team, if the big time team scores early, it's not good. Like the longer we stay in the game, the better. And I don't even know if that's actually true, but that's how it feels.
Yeah, it is how it feels. And luckily in this game, it didn't get worse, right? Like I thought if they get a second goal this half, like that's it. Like that's doom. But instead, things started to kind of open up more for SLU as the half progressed. Hannah Larson dribbled around.
She looked great. I did see, and it was a great play.
She put with about 10 minutes to go in the half, she put a nice shot on goal after like really catching a few midfielders and defenders off guard. And then just under a minute and a half, Riley Howard unleashed an unreal curling blast from outside the box, and it would have tucked right into the upper right corner, but USC's keeper made an outstanding play on that ball. The announcers thought that there might have been an offside flag on that one, but I'm not sure that was actually the case, so a little unclear there, but that shot was eye-opening, and if she could do that, then really looking forward to seeing her play a lot more. But luckily, Zach, that was the half. It started to tilt SLU's way, 1-0 at half, and I was feeling a lot better at halftime than I was for the first 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, I did not watch about, I think it was, I want to say the Hannah Larson. I did not see Riley Howard's shot. What? You know what? I think Riley Howard's shot was the last thing I saw of that half. And then I walked into the game.
Yeah, that was right before halftime anyway, right. So that was good. But early in the second half, Hannah Larson took advantage of a bad USC giveaway deep in their end, blasted a goal into the left side of the net. And it was one of those where it all happened so fast. I was like kind of caught off guard. It was like, oh, we've got a game now.
Yeah.
The second half just opened up. USC coughed it up. Hannah Larson, who Coach Shields has said, she clicks into another gear in the postseason. And my God, did she click into another gear in this game? She was awesome in this game. And this goal was a big blow to USC. And then the momentum was all with SLU for like the first 10 minutes of the half. It kind of felt like what USC did in the first half. It's almost like playing like youth soccer where you're on a crappy field that's like tilted one direction and everybody's scoring on one end. It was kind of like, oh, wow, okay, now we're going to that end of the field and things, the momentum's all there. But things kind of leveled out a little bit after that. It was, it was back and forth after that. It
was. Things got dicey, real dicey. I got some things to say. First of all, USC drew a yellow on Lindsay Heckel. According to you, there was some embellishment there.
Yeah.
And that gave him a free kick about 25 yards out off the post and into Emily Percelli's hands. And then in the 58th minute comes one of the dirtiest plays I've seen. I mean, women's soccer and women's sports in general can be absolutely vicious. We've seen they are intense, as intense, if not more intense than men. They are competitive as hell. And my God, was there just no fucking reason for what's her name? Simone Jackson to run down Percelli here. There was absolutely no reason.
She knew. They the announcers, USC people tried to kind of say incidental contact, two players going for the ball, but she saw it the whole way. She played right through it. She knew it. She saw it. I mean, to me, that's a really, really hard foul. And it took, Percelli was down for a while after the collision. She left the game. She never came back. I thought that was dirty as hell, Zach.
It was disgusting. Cue the Joe Buck. That was a disgusting act. No, I mean, horrible. You have no reason to be tracking that ball down. That ball is going to the keeper has the ball. You do not you're not getting that ball.
I look at that as a roughing the kicker in football.
Yes.
Where it's just that's an automatic flag. It's their ball and they get a first down and 15 yards on top of it because it's just so it's so unambiguously your fault that you did that. And in soccer, that's got to be, it's a hard yellow to me.
I mean, I go with straight red, right? Yeah. With anything with a keeper that can be avoided, that's a straight red on the, because really, I mean, if you look at it, the keeper cannot foul anybody almost without getting a red card.
Right.
I mean, I think you have to I am all for player safety. I continue to say that any ball, the first person to go to a basketball on the ground, a loose ball, is in possession, and any attempt to get it from them is a freaking foul.
Yeah.
You cannot, she went out of the game. She didn't come back. Percelli's out of the game. I mean, it was clearly a knee injury, no weight on it. It was just, it's so fucked up to see her end her career like that.
But not only is it not a straight red, right? Is it not so not only is our keeper taken out of the game, Zach, but a couple minutes later, Jackson, that same player, scores after a scramble, a loose ball in the box with Nimu Karani now in goal, a freshman, Percelli's backup. So the player who takes out the most experienced player in all of college soccer scored on her freshman backup immediately afterwards. And yes, Karani, I like her a lot.
I think she's very good.
Man, does she make me nervous with how aggressive she is and how. I saw this even in her limited minutes during the regular season. She really comes out after balls. She loves to come out after balls and challenge players like that. And more often than not, it works out. This time it didn't. I'm not sure that she necessarily misplayed it because the ball did ricochet around a little bit.
Was this one over her head? Was this the one that was dipped over her head? Or was that number 2?
No. That was the next one. That was the next one. That was their third.
Because that one was frustrating, but I don't know how much she could.
This was one where she came out and then they it pinged around a little bit and then they wound up with kind of an open look.
Oh yeah.
But it was the player who took Percelli out.
So it was awful to watch. That's why I turned it off after that. That made me sick.
Yeah. Yeah, it was horrible. And you didn't feel good about that.
No.
They go up 2-1, but 64th minute, so not all that much later, 3 or 4 minutes later, Sophia Stram, first goal of the season to restore balance.
Shout out Sam Rowan too.
Yeah, they they did review it for
I thought she was offsides, right?
I think there was a player on the far post. Everybody was talking about this player on the far post.
Okay.
The goal stood. And it was 2-2. It was 2-2, and things, Zach, the rest of the way were really tense, really physical, really chippy. None of that changed. And this was the goal that you referred to earlier. 87th minute, so we're getting late here. Kayla Colbert, who I said was all over the place from USC, chipped a goal over Karani. And this one was reviewed again, but once again, it stood after VAR, which,
What an insane! This game was insane.
Well, and the fact that VAR came into play after
No, well,
multiple goals.
that's what I was saying about the game against was it the Mizzou game where the referee just kept going to VAR.
Yeah.
Like after every like meaningful call. He's like, well, we're going to VAR. It's like you can just go. Why not just do it after every whistle? Just go over there, dude.
But what I don't understand is like they don't even do VAR in CONCACAF games because like the stadiums in Saint, whatever, like island in the Caribbean, Kitts and Nevis and Trinidad and all of these places, they don't have cameras all over the stadiums because their stadiums are essentially high school fields, right? On bad grass. And so like if they don't do VAR for like FIFA sanctioned international games and World Cup qualifiers, why are you doing it in college soccer where you have one camera angle?
Yeah.
You don't have cameras all over the field. All they have is the replays that we see. And that's not really the best way to judge offsides. You can judge other things that way, but offsides is not easy to call from just the half line always.
No.
I don't know. Whatever it was, they didn't see enough in any VAR review to overturn anything.
Honestly, I don't even think it's worth talking about VAR until we talk about the OT penalty because this game was just that good up until, I don't know. I thought the game on the whole was just that good up until that penalty, but like this was incredible. 87th minute, the chip-in goal over Karani. That's 3 minutes and 19 seconds left to equalize for the Billikens, and I'll be damned if they don't equalize. 87th minute, USC scores. I'm telling you, and I realize that I've sat here and said every time they scored that I turned it off, but in the 87th minute, I'm sure it's over.
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure
totally.
It's over. This game's over.
Totally. And it's Stram again.
Yes. And by the way, I'm going to take issue. I'm going to take issue with you on Friday night. Stram taketh, Stram giveth, Stram taketh away. I disagree with that, but talk about her goal.
I want to talk about her goal first.
Yes.
She gets her second of the game, second of the season. Slew held off for the last 2 minutes to send it to overtime.
Thank Christ.
The second goal, this was the one that was the volley, right? Because it was her first goal of the two was the one where we thought she may have been offside, where she was close, she was in on the net. This one was a really nice, like I think half volley that she hit well into the left side of the net. I really like this goal a lot. I did say Stram giveth, Stram taketh because of what happened in extra time, because she sent it in extra time, 3-3. And in the 97th minute, Zach, here we have, I guess, the play of the game, the most important play of the game. And it wasn't any of the 6 goals or anything that preceded it. It was the decisive play here. It looked like she shoved a USC player in the box, and the penalty was given. They reviewed it again. The call stood, and they got the PK. Why? So you're
so weak. Come on, dude. That's the second round of the NCAA tournament. It's 2 powerhouse teams. Are you kidding me? That's so weak and so lame. And if you're gonna make that call, you don't deserve to be reffing NCAA tournament. I mean, that's just so weak. Come on, man.
Let me ask you this: if the roles are reversed,
that's not a penalty.
If USC shoves, or like if USC is the defensive team, the same play happens in reverse. SLU player goes to the ground, and there's no call. I feel like you would have gone through the roof.
First of all, yes, I would have. Okay, but I would have at the end of things acknowledged that shouldn't have been a penalty. I thought it would have been light, but again, I would have been upset about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have been upset about it. I would have been appreciative of it. I'm sorry. Like I would have taken it, but again, I don't I don't think it was a penalty. By the way, I really like this new setup you got over there. You're lean back. You're a little more comfy tonight than usual.
I'm in my dad's office chair right now. Like this leather office, it's a lot
I
more
are you are
comfortable.
you're gonna start looking on Amazon for your upgrade to your studio.
I have a really nice chair in it at my desk upstairs that I don't bring upstairs and downstairs
Yeah,
here.
no, I
I sit in
wouldn't.
a really uncomfortable old chair
Yeah.
for our show. Uh, but I like to think that it's almost like one of those like old posture desks, like
Yeah.
in
Well,
schools 100 years ago or
I
something, where it
switched
like
to a
keeps me
stool here.
alert for the broadcast.
I switched to a stool. I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like it does
To keep you
keep me.
honest.
Yeah.
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 But okay, so this foul, this was one where in real time I was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing? Why did you do that?" To me, it was like a foul, absolutely a foul.
Yeah.
When they showed the replay, I thought, she went down pretty easily.
Mm.
And it's almost like when you have your arm just like lightly on a door and
Mm.
somebody opens the door and then your
Yes.
arm goes like through. And it's like I didn't push the door open. Someone opened it on the other side, and that kind of made me look like I was pushing the door
Yes.
open. And that's kind of what it looked like on the replay. Like she went down really easily. And like it's the game's the game, right? And like offensive players know how to sell stuff. And I thought there was a lot of embellishment on
Thanks, D'Angelo
that
Barksdale, by the
yellow
way.
card earlier in the game that heckle was called for. Maybe less so on this, but she sold it. And I don't know. There's not much you could do at that point. They get the PK. They make the PK. Karani guessed the right direction, but she put the ball high.
Yeah.
And she put the ball over her. And if Karani had like gone more in the air, would she have had a shot at it? I don't know. It was a really, really well placed PK.
Yeah.
They put the right person on the spot.
I got no interest in second guessing anything Karani did in this game. I thought she did
No.
really well too.
Hey,
Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
looking
no, I
forward to
know.
three more years of her in the net. Bring it on. I'm
Yeah,
excited to have her.
or if we get another, I don't know. I don't know what we got coming in. So, but I think
Yeah.
she'd be a fine starter.
She was great. Zach, I kind of looked at my wife in this game, like who was at the other end of the sofa
Your
from
wife
me, and
played
I
in
was
this one.
she spectated with me,
Oh, okay.
and I was like, the way this game is going, I just want to let you know, like I'm not 100% in control of my emotions right now. Like win or lose, I may very well. This is a golden goal situation. I may lose it when this game ends, whether it's USC or SLU, but not like that, right? Like
Yeah.
not like that. Not when it's a foul and a penalty kick in that way. I just kind of sat back like, like that's it. That's the season. That's
I
how it
know.
ends. And all of the emotions that I was prepared to not have control of, I just didn't have because
Yeah.
when it's a
It was.
foul and it's different.
I think that women's soccer game, man, really it brought the mood down in T-Mobile Arena. I feel like I'm not
Well,
gonna lie, because
I
it
gotta
did
hand
go
it.
near halftime.
I got it. Yeah, it went into we were definitely under. We already had two media timeouts behind us by the time we went into it, right? So it was like 10, 11 minutes left in the half before you could fully flip over to the men's
Yeah,
basketball game and not it be interfering. And I was definitely at that point I was fully paying attention to the women's soccer game. When it went into extra time, I put the men's game up on my main TV and put the women's game on my laptop.
yeah,
But that's what I was watching mostly. So
yeah,
it was hard to get into a rhythm in the men's game. But I do want to give SLU fans a lot of credit because like as the men's game was starting, a lot of people were still watching this women's basketball game, and I was
yeah.
seeing it on Twitter, on
Soccer game,
Discord.
women's soccer game.
Sorry. Soccer game on Twitter, Discord, on Billikens.com. Like there were a lot of people following along in this game and a lot of people riding the emotional waves that we were being sent all over in this game. Zach, overall this season though, interesting season for women's soccer. Like we never felt fully like we were seeing the potential of this team realized, But you step back and coming into this second round NCAA tournament game, we were still a one-loss team.
Yeah.
USC and SLU were the only one-loss teams in all of women's soccer. They played each other in the second round. And they both played hard schedules. They were both great teams. As many times this season as you and I said, this team is leaving stuff on the table. They're not finishing. They're not playing all the way up to this potential. This was still a great team.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, I had a blast watching them this season. I love this team.
Yeah, dude, I love this team. I love this coaching staff. I think they are everything that's good about college athletics.
Yeah.
They're everything that's good about being a Billiken. They're everything that's, everything that I think this athletic department should be. I think I think the leadership in the athletic department could learn a lot from their head coaches, especially Katie Shields, and about how to, what does she say? You don't go where the big time is, you be big time where you are.
That's right.
It's time for you to do that, I think.
I think she has.
No. I meant the athletic department.
Oh, it's not her.
She's right.
It's time for the rest of the department to live up to her standard.
Exactly. Oh boy. From a hard fought loss to which you could be proud of, I think, in a lot of ways, to a game where SLU men's soccer looked like they were just trying to go to penalties.
Yeah, that's really what it felt
like. No, pass the ball into the net. They wanted to pass the ball into the net.
Yeah. This was you say that's what Scott Gallagher said.
Yeah, that is the scourge that is. Well, you know what's funny is I think Scott Gallagher produces some great players over the years, and I think besides their pay to play model, which is everybody, but like, Jesus Christ, it's college soccer. Make weird shit happen. That's what Kansas City did in this one.
Yeah.
Like, be aggressive. Put it into the mixer. I don't know. Shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Make the other team make a play. They're not that good. Like, these guys aren't good. Like, college soccer. Okay, I want to rephrase that. College soccer is not the most beautiful brand of soccer out there.
Mm-hmm.
Play dirty soccer. Play gross soccer. You can play beautiful, but when it comes to that final third, get dirty. Get your hands dirty. Take shots. I don't know. Don't try to play pretty. Play direct.
They wanted this to be a remake, a redo of that UMass game that went into.
Yeah, well, they wanted a 1-goal game, and they wanted to hold. They wanted to hold basically. The idea was basically to possess the ball, so Kansas City, high-powered offense, couldn't score.
Right.
Problem with that is that Kansas City sucked ass when they had the ball. When they had to possess the ball, they couldn't. It was like watching Sunday League C co-ed when they had the ball. They would just give it away. You literally could just sit in behind them, and if you made sure that the ball does not beat you over the top, they're not going to pass through you. They weren't going to.
That's right.
And I mean, this men's soccer team was so much at their most dangerous when they were turning teams over and directly attacking, immediately transitioning into attack, and they just didn't look interested in it in this game.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily understand why.
I completely agree. And I'm going to circle back to that in just a second, but I do want to set the stage because we lost 2-0 to Kansas City in the NCAA tournament first round, Thursday, the 21st at Herman Stadium. Really favorable draw for SLU, right? To get Kansas City at home in the first round. It's pretty nice. And SLU was one of 4 teams to make the A10 tournament or to make the NCAA tournament.
Crazy, by the way.
Crazy. Overall 5 seed Dayton, a top 5 team in the nation. UMass, Fordham both make it. The A10, we've said over and over again, usually a 1-bid league, sometimes 2. 4 is a crazy number. mad respect for the league from the NCAA this year,
Yeah.
from the committee. And I think it was justified. I think it was a really good, deep league this year. I think the top half was really a great league. SLU was clearly the better team in the first half of this game, Zach. They controlled possession. They created some chances. Shots were 9-3, 4-1 on goal. So as much as we might say the style that they approached this game with, the way that they played, I don't think was the right strategy. It still looked like they were the better team for a long time.
I mean, they were the better team. Like, this was the game that the Billikens should win. 100, not 100 times out of 100. If you play the way they played in that first half, you're going to win games.
Yeah.
But like, you also have to attack the goal. And in the second half, it just wasn't that. It just, I don't understand it. But, Kansas City showed a willingness to shoot from anywhere. And it was nerve-wracking to watch them attack because they were insistent on putting shots towards net. And anything can happen.
And when that happens, all of those missed opportunities in the first half, either the ones you didn't generate a shot from, or you had a shot and didn't go in or whatever, that's where it comes back to bite you, because they were a lot more decisive when they had their chances. Munoz from Kansas City got a header on an in-swinging corner kick to put the Roos on the board in the 67th minute. I don't know how there were that many white shirts in the area, and it landed on the forehead of a Kansas City player. I mean, like, you couldn't even see him on half of the replay, and then all of a sudden he just pops up and puts it in, and then you see a bunch of white shirts like putting their arms out at one another, like, who missed the assignment there? He just rose up and got it in a sea of white shirts, and that was really disappointing.
Yeah. 83rd minute, Jeremy Francouz. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Made it 2-0, and that iced the game. It was a solid build up, but again, a shot from around the 18-yard line.
Nothing special at all.
Take shots.
Yeah.
The Billikens ended up only outshooting KC by 114-13. Shots on goal were 7-6 in KC's favor. I'm going to say this right now. If you told me the Billikens didn't register a shot on goal, I would believe you, because none of their shots were dangerous. I don't know. Yeah. 10-5 outshot in the second half were the Billikens, and then 6-3 on goal in the second. Second half was poor. It was really poor.
Mm-hmm. Form and effort both dropped off from the first half.
Yeah. The Billikens had 4 corners to the Kangaroos 2. And they scored off one of those corners. The Roos did. Billikens fouled more, 13-9. First win for Kansas City over SLU in history. What the fuck is with the Kalish regime and not beating our local rivals?
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, a lot of the records are starting to tilt the other way. The Billikens were 11-0 against the Roos before this. You want to stay perfect against them. Frustrating. We don't. Everything was frustrating about this game, though. It's frustrating watching this team pass it around all night and never score. There's so much wasted skill and talent. You play like a European club, except for the finishing. Frustrating to watch this team. It's also frustrating that this was the result, given that when the bracket set up, this was a favorable draw.
Yeah.
Home game, second round matchup against a seeded team that SLU tied earlier this season, right? Like, everybody's going to get a second round game against a seeded team, and ours was a 15 seed, and it's a team we tied. So that's about as good as you can hope for, right? Like there's nothing else.
And KC went and beat Missouri State 2-1 tonight.
Amazing. That path was there for SLU.
That was yours.
That was your path, clear path to the Sweet 16. They didn't take it. It's a major missed opportunity. Wasted opportunities within the game, wasted opportunities in the context of the tournament. I just don't feel great about that at all. as good as I feel about what the women's program did, I just kind of throw my hands up here and say I don't understand this approach.
No.
But this is a good team. There's a lot of talent. I'm not one of these people who's like fire the coach or anything like that. I think they're going to be okay. They've just got to be more decisive as they're working it up the field. Zach, you're so right too about the whole thing of just this is college soccer. This is not top flight club European soccer or anything like that. You just gotta put it on frame and make them make plays. I like it's so dumb, but like my 8-year-olds, I tell this, like, guys, there's no such thing as a perfect shot. If you have a chance, take the shot, right?
Yeah.
Just take it. I have a couple players who will dribble and dribble and dribble until they dribble out of bounds. And I'm just like, shoot the ball. In this case, these guys, they string so much possession passing together and they don't generate anything dangerous out of it. And all season long, that's been hard to watch. So
Yeah.
they got to figure that out. They need something up top. Somebody said if Simon Betcher is on this team, they're still playing right now. I don't know if that's the only thing, if it's just one decisive player up top, but they certainly need that.
It was infuriating to
Yeah.
watch this game. I'm trying to see what Dayton did. Let's go around the A10 scores from the tournament, Pete.
Yeah, Fordham had a 2-0 lead against Cornell at halftime, but gave up 4 goals in the second half to get
Yeah, that was
eliminated.
wild. That was a wild game. Cornell fans were rowdy.
As they are always. Go Big Red.
Yeah.
UMass beat Evansville 2-1 to face 6 seed Penn in the second round. 5 seed Dayton got Michigan in the first round.
They beat them 2-0.
Yes. Yeah.
I did find it.
After the Wolverines beat Robert Morris 2-0. So that was good result for them. So kind of a mixed showing overall for the league. What did UMass do?
They won, I think. They beat Penn.
They won. They beat Penn.
Penn
So they'll take on number 11 seed overall Virginia in the Sweet 16, and then the winner will get Denver or Indiana. So a respectable showing by the conference. Dayton is still in it. UMass is still in it.
I hate it. I hate it all.
Fordham and SLU blew it. They were in the same little quad of the bracket, which was weird. Like there's a scenario in which we could have played Fordham, but obviously that did not come to pass. And Kansas City will play the number 2 overall seed, Pittsburgh.
Well, speaking of a path for 2 A10 teams to match up, we almost had it in the NCAA Field Hockey Final Four. St. Joe's and UMass were both in the Final Four, which is wild.
Very wild.
Anyway, side note.
Yeah.
Volleyball finished the season with a 3-0 loss in the A10 tournament to 3 seed Loyola Friday the 2nd. All close battles, Pete. Not good from the Billikens to finish off the year. Not sure what needs to be. I really think passing obviously needs to improve big time. Looks like they've got some decent freshman outsides coming in. They really need to find better passing in the portal, I think, but that's my opinion. 3-0 loss, 23-25, 22-25, and 24-26. Bruce had 13 kills. Lynn had 23 assists and 13 digs. The postseason awards, Bruce, A10 Rookie of the Year. She also made the all-conference second team with Trinity Luckett. Bruce and Jansen were on the all-rookie team. Delaney Rice and Kate Opperly, all-academic team. Swimming and diving, Pete, and then we'll get out of here and hope for a better week.
Oh, yeah, we need to, Zach. The swimming and diving may be a little bit of a bright spot. At IUI, the House of Champions, November 21st to the 23rd, the men finished 4th out of 11. The women finished 10th out of 13, but 3 school records fell in this competition. Bray Sanchez swam 54.04 in the men's 100 breaststroke prelims, breaking the existing record of 54.17. So that was one of them. Hannah Whitney clocked 104.11 in the women's 100 breast prelims, and that broke the previous mark of 104.13. And the Sanchez, Evan Krim, Grant Girl, and Colton Mosley in the 200 medley relay, 128.56. The previous school record was 128.72, set back in 2018. So always cool to see some records fall. That's what you want to see out of the swimming, diving, track, cross country, out of those sports. So a decent job by them this weekend. Next up, January 18th is the next time they're in competition. So it's going to be a little while here, but they'll be at Omaha. So swimming and diving gets a little bit of a break here.
All right, that's going to do it. Like I said, hopefully the week ahead is much better. We can only hope. Thank you all again so much for listening. I hope you stuck with us because there was a lot to talk about and a lot of good things to talk about. Whether good meaning entertaining things to talk about, I guess. Hopefully we entertained you better than the Billikens entertained you this week. That's all I'm saying. All right. Go Bills, Pete.
Go Bills.